When you think of the future of clean energy, you probably picture massive solar farms stretching across deserts or giant wind turbines spinning in the ocean. But a few days ago, history was quietly made in Tamil Nadu, India, and it had absolutely nothing to do with the sun or the wind. India just opened the world's first nuclear-powered hydrogen plant at the Indira Gandhi Center for Atomic Research in Kalpakkam. Now, why is this a massive deal? Because right now, the world is obsessed with green hydrogen, splitting water into hydrogen and oxygen to power clean cars and heavy industry. But traditional green hydrogen requires massive amounts of electricity. India skipped the electricity entirely. They took an indigenously developed chemical process, hooked it up directly to the intense heat of a fast breeder test reactor, and started splitting water using pure, raw, carbon-free nuclear heat. This isn't just a win for India. It's the opening whistle for a massive, global nuclear renaissance. Today, we're breaking down how we got here, why the world completely changed its mind about nuclear power, and the mind-blowing future tech that's about to change how we power everything, from AI data centers to rockets heading to Mars. To understand why this Indian breakthrough is such a paradigm shift, we have to look at where nuclear power came from. It's been a wild, multi-decade roller coaster that can be broken into 3 chapters before landing in the modern day. Phase 1. The Age of Optimism, 1950s to 1970s. After World War II, scientists promised atomic energy would be too cheap to meter. When the 1973 oil crisis hit, Western nations panicked and started building reactors at lightning speed. France famously flipped almost its entire electricity grid to nuclear in just a couple of decades. Phase 2. The Great Stagnation, 1980s to 2010s. Then the narrative broke. 3 Mile Island in 1979, the catastrophic meltdown at Chernobyl in 1986, and later the Fukushima disaster in 2011 completely shifted public opinion. Fear led to massive regulatory crackdowns. Nuclear projects became notoriously slow, expensive, and buried in red tape. In the West, nuclear power went into a deep freeze. Phase 3, the pivot to the East, 2010s to 2020s. While the West stopped building, the center of gravity structurally shifted to Asia. China and India quietly became the world's construction capitals for nuclear energy, accounting for over half of all new reactor builds globally. Which brings us to right now. So, what exactly just happened at Kalpakkam? Most standard nuclear plants just boil water to spin a steam turbine to make electricity. But India's fast breeder reactors use liquid metal coolants that exit the core at blazing hot temperatures. Instead of converting that heat into electricity and losing a bunch of energy in the process, engineers at the Bhabha Atomic Research Center developed something brilliant, a copper-chlorine thermochemical cycle. They feed that high-grade nuclear process heat directly into the chemical plant to split water. This allows us to clean up the dirtiest, hardest-to-abate sectors on Earth, like steel manufacturing, oil refining, and fertilizer production. And India isn't alone in realizing nuclear is the ultimate cheat code. Look at Silicon Valley. The rapid explosion of artificial intelligence and massive data centers requires an unbelievable amount of 24/7 baseload power. Solar and wind can't provide that when the sun sets or the wind stops. That's why tech giants like Microsoft, Google, and Amazon are pouring billions into nuclear energy, even signing deals to resurrect closed plants like 3 Mile Island just to power their AI models. If you think today's reactors are cool, the technology currently hitting the labs for the next decade looks straight out of sci-fi. The future of nuclear is built on 3 massive pillars. 1. Molten salt reactors, MSRs. Instead of using highly pressurized water that can cause a steam explosion if a pipe leaks, companies like Bill Gates' TerraPower are designing reactors where the nuclear fuel is melted directly into liquid salt. If the plant loses total power, a plug at the bottom melts, and the liquid fuel safely drains via gravity into underground tanks where it cools down naturally. It is physically impossible for it to have a meltdown. 2. Microreactors or nuclear batteries. Forget giant, multi-billion-dollar cooling towers. The future belongs to microreactors. These are tiny plug-and-play units that fit inside a standard shipping container. You can build them in a factory, truck them out to a remote mine, a military base, or a disaster zone, and they will silently provide power for 15 to 20 years without ever needing a refuel.
If you enjoyed this, please like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to follow